Hello, hello. Welcome back. Today, I have a story for you. A very funny story. It happened to me. Well, maybe it happened to me, or maybe I just imagined it. You will see. Ready? Okay, let's go. So, it was a Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday morning. Very early. Maybe 7 o'clock? Maybe 6:30? I don't know exactly. I was sleeping. I was sleeping very, very well. I was dreaming about a big pizza, a beautiful pizza, with cheese and tomatoes and... I opened my eyes. I looked at the ceiling. I thought, what was that? Nothing. Silence. Only the sound of the birds outside. I closed my eyes again. The pizza was waiting for me. The cheese was so beautiful, so yellow, so... I sat up in my bed. I was not happy. I looked at the clock. 6:45 in the morning. 6:45. Who knocks on a door at 6:45 in the morning? Who does that? I got up slowly. My eyes were still a little bit closed. I walked to the door, slowly, like a zombie. You know, one foot, then the other foot, arms a little bit forward, eyes almost closed. I opened the door. Nobody. I looked left. Nothing. I looked right. Nothing. I closed the door. I walked back to my bed. I got in. I pulled the blanket up. I closed my eyes. The pizza was gone. The dream was gone. Now I was just sleeping in a gray, quiet, boring sleep. No pizza, nothing. I tried to go back to the dream. I thought about cheese. I thought about tomatoes. I thought about the big, round pizza with the crispy... I jumped out of the bed. I was not a zombie now. Now I was fast. I ran to the door and opened it very quickly. Nobody. Again, nobody. But this time, I waited. I stood at the door. I looked outside. Left, right, left again. I waited. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Nothing. Then I heard something. A small sound. Very small. From below. Very below. Near the ground. I looked down and I saw a dog. A small dog. Very small. White and brown with big eyes. Big, round, beautiful eyes. He looked at me. I looked at him. He wagged his tail very fast, like a little machine. I said, "Hello?" He wagged his tail more. I said, "Did you knock on my door?" He wagged his tail again. Now, I know dogs cannot knock on doors. I know that. I'm not crazy. Dogs don't have hands. They can't knock. But this dog was very close to the door, and he was very happy to see me, and nobody else was there, so I looked at the dog looked at me. I said, "Okay, come in." Yes, I invited a dog into my house at 6:45 in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before anything. I just opened the door and said, "Come in," to a small dog that I had never seen in my life before. Was this a good idea? Probably no, but I was tired, and he was very cute. The dog walked into my house. He looked around, he smelled the floor, he smelled the sofa, he smelled my shoes, he smelled everything. He was very busy, very professional, like an inspector, a small, fluffy inspector. I went to the kitchen. I needed coffee, very much. I put water in the machine. I waited. The dog came to the kitchen too. He sat down next to me. He looked up at me. I said, "I don't have dog food, sorry." He looked at me. He didn't move. I said, "I have bread." He wagged his tail. I gave him a small piece of bread. He ate it in 1 second, then looked at me again. I gave him another piece. He ate it, then looked at me. Another piece. Ate it, looked at me. This continued for maybe 5 minutes. I gave, he ate, he looked. I gave, he ate, he looked. He was very small, but he ate like a big dog. I was a little bit scared. I drank my coffee. The dog sat next to my feet. It was actually nice, quiet, comfortable. Just me and my coffee and this small mystery dog. After coffee, I thought, okay, this dog has an owner somewhere. Someone is looking for this dog right now. I need to find that person. I looked at the dog's neck. He had a small blue collar. On the collar, there was a little tag. I picked up the tag and read it. The name on the tag was Kevin. I looked at the dog. I said, "Your name is Kevin?" Kevin wagged his tail. I said, "Kevin is a very interesting name for a dog." On the other side of the tag, there was a phone number. Great! I took my phone and I called the number. It rang. Once, twice, 3 times, then a voice, a woman's voice. Very sleepy, very, very sleepy. She said, "Hello?" I said, "Hello, good morning. I'm sorry to call so early, but I have your dog, I think. His name is Kevin? Small dog, white and brown?" She said, "Kevin?" I said, "Yes, Kevin. He was at my door this morning and..." She said, "Oh no, Kevin. Kevin always does this. Every week he runs away. Every week. Kevin, Kevin, Kevin." I looked at Kevin. Kevin was now on my sofa. He was making himself comfortable. He turned around 3 times and then he lay down, like it was his sofa, like he lived there. I said to the woman, "He's on my sofa now." She said, "Yes, that sounds like Kevin." The woman's name was Maria. She lived on my street, not far, maybe 5 or 6 houses from me. She came to my house 30 minutes later. She knocked on my door. I know, funny, right? Another person knocking on my door. And I opened it. Maria was young, maybe 25, 26. She looked tired. She looked like me before coffee. She had a big coat and her hair was a little bit crazy, like she got dressed very fast. She said, "I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Kevin is a problem." I said, No, it's okay. Come in." She came in. Kevin saw Maria. Kevin jumped off the sofa and ran to her. He jumped up and down, up and down. He was so happy, like he hadn't seen her for 10 years, not 30 minutes, 10 years. Maria held Kevin and said, "Kevin, bad dog, you ran away again. Bad, bad dog." Kevin wagged his tail very fast. He didn't look sorry. He looked very happy. Maria looked at me. She said, "Thank you. Really, thank you so much. I was sleeping, and when I woke up, his little door in the garden was open and he was gone. He does this. He just goes." I said, "Where does he go?" Maria said, "Everywhere. To the bakery, to the park. One time he went to the school. He sat in the playground with the children for 1 hour. The teacher called me. She said, 'There's a dog in my class.' I said, 'Is his name Kevin?' She said, 'Yes.' I said, 'I'll come.' I laughed. I really laughed. Maria laughed too. We stood there in my hallway and laughed about Kevin. Kevin sat between us and wagged his tail. He looked very pleased with himself. Very, very pleased. Maria said, "Can I ask you something? How did you know to let him in? Most people close the door." I said, "I don't know. He looked at me with the big eyes, and it was early, and I was tired, and I just said, 'Come in.'" Maria nodded. She said, "Kevin has that effect on people." Kevin wagged his tail. I offered Maria a coffee. She said yes. So she came in, and we sat in my kitchen, and we drank coffee. Kevin lay down between our chairs. Immediately, he was sleeping. Just like that, sleeping, making small snoring sounds. We talked. We talked about the street, about the neighborhood. We talked about Kevin's many adventures. She told me about the time Kevin went into the supermarket and sat in front of the meat section for 20 minutes. She told me about the time Kevin found a child's birthday party and ate 2 pieces of cake before anyone noticed he was a dog. I laughed. I really laughed. Maria laughed too. We drank the coffee. It was very nice, very relaxed. Outside, the sun was coming up now. The birds were singing. Kevin was snoring. At 8 o'clock, Maria stood up. She said, "I have to go to work. Thank you for the coffee and for keeping Kevin safe." I said, "It was my pleasure, really." She picked up Kevin. He woke up slowly. He looked at me. He wagged his tail one time, just one time, like goodbye. I waved at him. To a dog. I waved at a dog. I'm not embarrassed.
Maria walked to the door. Then she stopped. She turned around. She said, "I'm sorry again for waking you up. I mean, Kevin waking you up." I said, "It's okay. Best Tuesday morning in a long time." She smiled. It was a very nice smile. She said, "Maybe I'll see you again, on the street, or maybe Kevin will bring you to me again." I said, "Yes, or I can knock on your door next time." She laughed. She said, "Please do." And then she left. I closed the door. I stood in my hallway. I looked at the sofa. There was a small round space where Kevin was sleeping before, a little Kevin shape in the sofa cushion. I smiled. I went to the kitchen. I made more coffee. I sat down. It was 8:15 in the morning. I had been awake since 6:45. I had met a dog named Kevin. I had met Maria. I had lost my pizza dream, but I had found something better. A funny story, and maybe a new friend or two. One human, one dog. So, that is my story. That is who was knocking on my door. The answer was Kevin. The answer was always Kevin. If a small dog knocks on your door early in the morning, open it. Give him some bread. Call his owner. Offer coffee. You never know what happens next. Life is strange. Life is funny. And sometimes the best things start with knock, knock, knock at 6:45 in the morning. Thank you for listening. See you next time.